What do you think? NFL tie? Or red tie? Red tie? Go with the pewter and red? Yeah, I think I'm going with the red one. That one's pretty cool, though. See, these are the things that, like, you know, a good, you know, attention to detail guy takes care of before he puts it on for the first time. All right. What's the lowest setting I can get? That one? Yeah, that one. First world problems right here, buddy. Yes, it's right here. Right there, just a touch of water. Yeah, it looks right, eh? This is so good. Oh, yeah, pretty good for a guy that doesn't know how to be a homemaker. I know when I talk to my friends, they're all, have fun tonight, you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's simple as text that I've gotten today, and it probably says more than anything. And you realize that you're not hiding anymore in the background of your post-career. You're at the forefront of your Hall of Fame journey, and that's where I am. This is the first step. When you go into that hall and everybody's looking at all 370 other busts, then they get to mine, all it's gonna say is, Rondé Barber, hey, who's that guy?
It's hard to talk about the history of the NFL without talking about Rondé Barber, how he redefined a position. A lot of people have chips, but it's what you do with them.
Rondé Barber's the finest nickel corner to ever play this game, and don't get it twisted.
Run game, pass game, blitzing. When you went against him, you had to account for him.
He had confidence, and he knew he was going to be a good ball player.
And it was crystal clear. He was in pursuit of greatness. He was in pursuit of rare air.
You got a chance today, right? Excellence is the standard, isn't it?
That's why there's such a love affair with Rondé Barber, because he kind of never went away.
Number 20, let's go, boys. Stay locked in now. Push to be elite right now. Push to be elite.
We thought we were making him better. He was really making us better.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rondé Barber.
They're crying. I'm trying not to cry, but I'm so proud of them. To see them be proud of me, that's what this is about. What's up, Tiki Barber? I have so many friends and family have wanted this for so long.
Hey, Rondé, this is Mom. I want you to play proud. I want you to give it your best.
I always understood that football was his life, so I was going to be his biggest supporter.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
People will be like, oh my God, it's Rondé Barber. I'll look at him and be like, oh my God, it's Rondé Barber. Like, can I have a picture with you too?
They spent those 16 years rooting for me.
Rondé Barber, my good friend, welcome to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Oh my God, Derek.
Throws out here, intercepted, and it's a touchdown. Rondé Barber.
Gotta get a hold of my damn emotions. I'm all hyped up right now for no damn reason.
Here comes Rondé Barber.
Hey, baby, you're having one of those days.
I always say my favorite play is not my own.
That's picked up, and who else? Rondé Barber.
Pro Bowl my ass, baby. I'm going to San Diego, man.
The Pro Bowl, I'm going to San Diego.
This dude that's 5'9" and 5'8", 184 pounds.
I ain't scared of you, big boy.
Beat all the odds and was a Hall of Famer because he was pretty awesome at his job. Jamel Rondé Barber. The etymology is from the Congo. My name, Jamel Rondé, means firstborn son.
My grandmother was a midwife, and when I first told her I was pregnant, she put her hand on my belly and she said, "You're having twins." And I just laughed at her, and she was right.
I am 7 minutes older than my somewhat more popular, less talented twin Tiki, which is really a team Kiambu, which means fiery-tempered king, in case you wondered.
We were always tight. We always had easy conversation. In fact, my mom used to tell us that we would have our own language. It really wasn't. It was just us mumbling.
Growing up with him was pretty special because we did do everything together.
Every avenue, we walked hand in hand.
They would not sleep. They would not go to sleep unless they were in the same crib. We had separate cribs for them when they came home, and they cried all the time. Put them in the same crib, and they would gravitate to each other, and they'd go to sleep.
Oh, my mom, Rondé Barber, working for the Girl Scouts of America for 30 plus years, not making enough money, but being able to support two twins.
She played in a mom's football game, actual pads on the moms. And it was funny, like afterwards she was like, well, now you can never say I haven't done it. And it was like, you know what, you're kind of right.
She allowed us to never want for anything, which is amazing when I look back at it, because I don't know how you survive on $30,000 a year.
Who raised them? They raised each other. I provided guidelines. I did the best I could. Lord, I did the best I could.
I know that I kind of get loose in lips and just kind of let stuff flow. But when I look at her and mostly Tiki, they are very introspective before any word comes out of their mouth. Just by comparison's sake, she's a Hall of Fame woman for sure.
What's up, Tiki Barber?
What's up, Hall of Famer?
Are you jealous now?
Who, me?
Do you want to be in the Hall of Fame?
I would love to be in the Hall of Fame.
Wants to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, once you're in, that kind of means I'm in.
Ah, see? Right? That's the lead right there. He said now that I'm in, he's actually in the Hall of Fame too. Exactly. Technically,
am I in?
We're technically one egg. It's split, so.
I love this question. And what's it like growing up with a twin?
When we were younger, we cut our hair the same way, wore the same clothes. I mean, literally, we'd wear the same clothes.
I think they competed against each other more than they did their teammates.
When we played together, we just whooped up on people, and it was fun. And when we were on separate teams, we hated each other.
I think me and Rondé developed that toughness because of our fighting with each other, our wrestling with each other.
It could be the worst insult, but they were also each other's biggest cheerleader when they accomplished something.
I think that hidden motivation that was there is why we both had great successes in our, professional and personal lives.
Football happened really because all our friends were playing football. Our coaches knew that we were fast and athletic.
Tiki was starting running back right away, which was rare. When I got a chance to play, obviously immediate success, I started the rest of my career.
Outside behind the apartment, they'd be out there, and one of them would practice defense and one of them would practice offense, and then they switch up just so they could understand what brother was doing.
Back then, we ran like a wishbone, and you'd have two fast guys that were running to the edges and nobody could catch it. So we grew to love it because we were good at it.
Obviously, we were gonna play football during the fall, and during the winter, you either played basketball or you wrestled, or, as we decided to do, I ran indoor track.
They had a very unique situation at Cave Spring High School because they were on a 4x4 track team, and the other two members of the track team was another set of twins. And they made up their mind at the beginning of the season that they were not going to be defeated, and they were not defeated.
We didn't want to be professional football players. We wanted to be track athletes, wanted to go to the Olympics. It helped us develop the speed and the correct techniques, running-wise, athletic-wise, to be good football players.
Track was probably my first love, to be honest with you. I was a 55-meter hurdler, I was national champion indoor, 55 in 1993. I was a runner-up in 92. Won 5 state titles in hurdles, indoor and outdoor. That's what defined me. I don't know that I love the recruiting process, because ultimately you're disappointing a lot of people.
They were concerned about me because it was just the three of us. And I told them, go anywhere you want to, and if you're on the other side of the country, I'll move.
It's funny, I can still smell the letters. I know it's weird to say that, but you'd open it and have, this pamphlet inside, and it's talking about the school, it's laminated.
We got them from everywhere. We talked to any of the coaches, and they didn't want both of us. They didn't want the package deal, Tiki and I. Then non-starter. You're out.
Some coaches didn't know whether they should recruit us together. Maybe one coach liked me more than Rondé, or one coach liked Rondé more than me, and it was kind of odd.
First one was Clemson. It felt too big, and it felt far away. And I think they wanted to make Tiki a defensive back.
As Clemson kept pushing me, they kind of turned me off.
Our very next weekend, we go to Virginia, and it's everything that we expected it to be.
They came through the office as an unofficial visit. That was the first time I met him. When they left, we sat in our defensive staff room. We said, boy, they're little. You know?
Virginia was good football team. They were ranked #1 in the country at one point. George Welsh, the head coach at the time, was a legend. And I remember very distinctly when he came to our high school to come see Tiki and I. It was pretty cool.
He was as quiet as we were. So when he came to visit, we were just sitting staring at each other for half an hour. But there was something about UVA that captured us.
They got stuck on UVA because they could both go together. They were both being recruited. They loved the program there.
But we're still going to honor these other visits that we could take. I mean, who doesn't want to go see Michigan? That weekend we were supposed to go to Michigan. It snowed. Flight got canceled. That was it. We called North Carolina and said, we're not coming. We're out. Our recruiter there cussed us out, said we're making the worst decision of our lives.
Rondé took that first year and did what redshirt freshmen are supposed to do. He learned.
My first year was not fun in Charlottesville. I was not doing well academically. I wasn't playing. I was getting redshirted.
We didn't think he was quite ready. I mean, to be a corner, you want to be able to keep a confidence level up. You don't want to get burned early in your career.
I basically went to work every day. You could call it work, practice every day, just to grind and do nothing. It was a bit of a struggle.
I lost my red shirt. He didn't. So his second year, which was his redshirt freshman year, he was great.
True Rondé fashion. You may think you knocked him down a little bit, got a little edge on him or something, but he's just too talented, too focused.
He didn't get rattled. I mean, I always equated being a defensive back with being a pitcher in baseball. You're going to have a home run hit against you. What are you going to do on the next pitch? You going to throw a strike, or are you going to cash out? And Rondé, he's always throwing strikes.
My first game ever was on the road at Florida State. Chief Osceola on his horse, dropping that spear into the middle of the field and going, holy shit, this is real.
He didn't have to earn our respect, but right away, it was like, oh, I think we got a ball over there.
I think it was the second or third series, got my first collegiate interception. And I was like, all right, I can do this.
I mean, he intercepted 8 passes that year. He intercepted 20 or more passes for the next 4 years that he was there.
I was just trying to fit in, and by making a bunch of plays, which I did that year, it allowed me to fit in and gain the respect and the reverence of the guys around me, especially some of the older guys.
From a coaching standpoint, we always try to keep the players around so they could fully develop, but Rondé was quietly confident.
I remember having this long conversation with Art Marcos about this. Art was like, there's nothing more we can teach you here. There's nothing more you can do. The guy who I'm working with every day. George, he's like, you're not ready. You're not ready yet. How do you even know that, George? You kind of do the projections and they're telling you you're going to be anywhere from a 2nd to a 5th round draft pick or whatever, whatever. I can honestly say this. When I met Tony Dungy, who had been the head coach here for 2 years at that point, I was like, oh, wow, black head coach in Tampa. Did not know that.
1997 was a big draft year for us. We finished up the 96 season strong, but didn't make the playoffs. We're still growing, and we knew we needed some playmakers. Heard about these twins at University of Virginia. Playmaker on offense, Tiki Barber, but a playmaker on defense, Rondé Barber, who maybe doesn't get as much publicity as Tiki because he doesn't have the ball as much.
When when I met him at the Combine, I did not know who played for the Bucs, who coached the Bucs. They were a team that wore orange and had a ambiguous pirate holding a knife in his mouth.
So we start looking at Rondé, and he has all the characteristics we're looking for. He's not an overly big guy, but we said that size wasn't the most important thing for us.
What those guys wanted was me. Upstanding, smart, a lot of talent, maybe underrated.
Knowing what to do, playing with passion, being smart, being a great teammate.
The team that they built, and all the guys were like that, with the exception of, maybe one guy that wore 99, but, he's a great guy at heart.
It was interesting now. We've got our eye on him. Where do we have to pick to get him? We knew that a lot of people wouldn't take him in the first or second round because of his size, but for us, he was a first-round talent that we ended up drafting in the third round.
At some point that night, Nancy Hasselman from the Bucs called me. He's like, "Hey, it's Nancy Hasselman from the Bucs. I'm going to put you on with Coach Dungy."
To come into that Buccaneer defense in the late 90s, you needed some self-confidence.
We all coming into the NFL think that we're stars, ready to go. There's a learning curve.
I think it was tough for Rondé at first. If I had been there 4 years, Derek and Warren Sapp had been there for 2 years, and we had just really started to go to Pro Bowls and all that.
I saw a lot of things I saw myself, just trying to get acclimated, play a position and do certain things that he wasn't quite used to doing in college.
Rondé so badly wanted to be one of the guys, but it had already been established and people started to call us the Big Three. And I think he was the guy going, wait, when can it be the Big Four?
You could tell minicamp, probably, the way he worked, his work habits and stuff like that. He would show the emotion in practice.
I remember Monty can't say my name right. He's calling me Randy.
He's not Rondé to me. I always call him Randy. Rondé Barber because Rondé wasn't enough.
Sapp and Brad Culpepper and everybody. Randy, yeah, they just won't let it go.
We were asked to play in space, he and I on opposite sides of the field, in our famous Tampa 2 defense.
I was essentially a mini-me of Derek Brooks. They'd expect me to make plays that a linebacker would make if he was in that position.
So Monty said, I can blitz him. I can use him in the running game. I can use him in deep pass defense. I can use him in the deep third. Whatever we have to do, he can do it.
He was so quick. We come in and fake him, right back him on him. He'd come off that edge. God, he's telling you to light you up right now.
My playbook was definitely more detail to the job because I was playing outside and inside.
We had to be in sync on a lot of things because we were opposite each other, but asked to do very similar things.
He had a lot of talent coming out, studying the game and understanding the importance of the details of what's required to play in that defense. That wasn't always the most important thing to him.
But I really remember the conviction of Herm Edwards saying, this kid, he's got something special to him. And you would not have thought that after our first game, when his first game, when Rob Moore just absolutely torched him. It was a rough game, and we've all had those.
1997, my rookie year. Playing in the old sombrero, baby. Arizona Cardinals are coming to town, and you're on the 53-man roster with an expectation that you're going to play, but then there's 5 guys that they don't play every week, that are inactive.
It was a little bit of a slow start for him. We had some other rookies that year that got into the lineup a little bit faster, played earlier.
A lot of men in his position could get discouraged. I mean, you're working to get up every week and you're competing and you're not even dressing out.
The beginning part of that year, I was always inactive. It was frustrating, man. You almost start to accept your fate, which sucks.
But for him, it was always putting in the work, never being discouraged, and that's what you came to appreciate as a coach.
There was a week, I was going to get an opportunity to go play, and I was going to be the nickelback. I was going to be the third corner that came in outside when Anthony Parker went inside.
Rob Moore was a tremendous player. We didn't know a lot about him at the time, but he ended up proving that he was a great player down the road.
Early in the game, they just were playing 3 deep. and the ball down the sideline, I had no chance. I had no idea what I was doing. I was out of position. Technique was bad.
And it's easy to put the blame on one person, but it was more of our defense not playing up to maybe our standard than one particular guy.
I think he had 146 yards, and all of them were on me. Every single one of them. And guess what? I didn't see the rest of the year. My name at the top of the special teams list. Like, nope, he's not playing.
I know Rondé was disappointed that this was his chance to play, his chance to start, and maybe the game didn't go the way he wanted. That didn't discourage him.
It was a catalyst. You know, talk about springboards, right? You kind of need it. You need adversity. I captured that adversity and started getting better.
He just stayed grinding and really did not get discouraged.
He was embarrassed because of his pride and who he is. And then from there it was like, okay, you need to sit for a little while.
I mean, you just know his attitude was, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you that I should be out there.
And the guys that are willing to put their cleats on and go work on the grass, those are the guys that get better.
I've been grinding, man. Since that Rob Moore game, Arizona Cardinals game, I've been grinding, trying to figure out how to get better at my job. I've taken a lot of reps in practice, all scout team reps. That's what one thing Herm said. Take every single rep you can. Don't take a play off.
And then all of a sudden, I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, hey, Randy, you up this week? And he looked at me, he said, what? And I said, you're up. You're playing, buddy. We're gonna find out how much he's grown.
You're gonna be our nickelback against the Green Bay Packers. Second round of the playoffs at Lambeau. I'm like, excuse me while I go throw up.
And the next playoff game we're in, Rondé Barber has a big role, and he's playing because he's not going to be denied.
And he grew up, there's no doubt about that.
That taste, feeling like my first game in college against Florida State, that was the first time in the NFL where I felt like I can play this game. I can play at this level.
So Rondé Barber started the last 215 games of his career, which started in the middle of 1999 and till the end, 2012, 13 more seasons. He played it and started every single game. And believe me, he was not injury-free that entire time.
Going in the training room did nothing to help you get healthy other than let everybody else know that you were hurt. I took the challenge of, I'm playing this week regardless. I'm gonna go out and practice and figure out how I'm gonna play.
It's funny because there is a picture hanging on the wall in the training room of Rondé Barber. And the reason that's funny is because Rondé Barber did not want to go into that room. He didn't want anybody to know if he had any injuries. He didn't want the Buccaneers training staff to be tempted to put him on the injury report even, which is why he almost never showed up on the injury report. And that's a symbol hanging there for guys, any other guys on the team, that's the kind of strength that really makes a special player.
And it's intercepted by Rondé Barber. Intercepted, and it's a touchdown. You can't have a better day as a corner than Rondé Barber has had.
My next 3 years, 98, 99, 2000, I turned into a good pro football player. I was doing a lot with the defense.
And he did not miss a practice. He did not miss a game. He did not miss a play. He did not miss a meeting. And I don't think I've seen anything like it since.
He was opportunistic, and that came in a variety of ways. He had tremendous instincts. He was great at baiting people into plays.
And then I think he brought this uniqueness of blitzing from the slot position. And we really started to use that throughout his career.
I used to call him a little chihuahua because he's not the biggest dude, but man, is he feisty.
He was a son of a but boy, he was ours.
Rondé had his own little way of trash talking, saying certain things that Sapp would hear and Sapp would repeat. You know,
Rondé's got a little in his neck, so now I got another talker again with me. This ought to be real fun now.
It sucked to play us because we weren't going to do anything complicated. The same defense every single week, and you knew it.
People had this misconception that Rondé was created by the system. The Kansas City Chiefs have a great offense, but it wouldn't be as good if Patrick Mahomes wasn't orchestrating things.
Can't tell you how many times we're in draft meetings someone's making a comparison of a nickel to Rondé Barber, and it's because he kind of defined the way you play that position in football. That's the mark of a great player.
After the 2000 season, my rookie contract runs out. Rich McKay's like, go test the market, man. We bring in this young kid who was coming from University of Cincinnati, Mike Tomlin.
I probably was on the job about a week. Rondé was a looming free agent or so. His former coach, Herm Edwards, had just gotten a head coaching job at the New York Jets. I was a guy that was in my 20s, only a couple of years older than him. And so I just wanted to make him comfortable that I could, meet his needs in terms of helping him develop his talent and his game.
Obviously, he wanted to coach me. He had watched the film. He knew what type of player I could be, because I was a good player at that point.
Rondé was the type of guy, man, that made coaches. And we used to joke, I'd say he's LT and I'm Bill Parcells. I just knew that that's what he meant to my career.
He implored me that nobody else could do what I was doing for this defense, and I needed to sign back to Tampa.
He aspired to have a career that was impactful as LT, and I aspired to have a career that was impactful as Coach Parcells. And knowing their story of how they were connected, I just tried to utilize that as inspiration for he and I.
He comes in and resets my expectations of myself and what I can be as a football player.
Some of those hardcore discussions, letters, analysis that we shared regarding his play was a display of those intentions. To search for the rare air that became the legacy, man, that's 20.
Who's your daddy? He's in the locker room. You don't want to come out here and play with me? He'll be out here sooner or later.
There was many times during my career, any particular game during my career, where I would spend part of it trying to figure out what Tiki was doing up in New York or wherever he was playing.
At running back, Rondé's brother, Tiki Barber.
What the Giants were doing, how many yards did he have, how many touchdowns did he have, and hoping for his success.
Boo!
Rondé's an all-timer with the Bucs. I ultimately, subsequently became an all-timer with the Giants, and it all started in 1998 or so when, that first game.
Where you been, man? Hiding.
Back in, January, February, when the schedule first came out, first thing I did was went through the schedule because I figured it was about time for it to roll around again. Let's play some football.
My mom handled it pretty well. I don't know how I'd handle watching your kids playing against each other professionally. It's different when you do it in the backyard or whatever.
My mom always found a way to be unique and supportive of both of us, even though I always think she liked Rondé better.
Hey, Tiki, it's Mom. I'm very, very proud of you, babes, and I'm happy for you. Hey, Rondé, this is Mom. I want you to play proud. I want you to give it your best. We'll see you after the game. I love you much. Bye.
I stayed on the road. There were times when I would go to one game, get on a plane that night, and fly to the next city for the other game.
High enough for you? Yeah.
It was rewarding. It was exciting. I found myself holding my breath much of the games. People all around me were looking at me like, that woman has lost her mind. And then it was like, oh, that's the twins' mother.
They got it out of the way, right? It's over. Okay.
Even if I bust this inside, man, I'm gonna get hit in the mouth by Tiki.
It was always fun to look at the game plan and see how our scouts and Monty and, whoever described him.
What the hell are they going to say about my brother? What are these advanced scouts going to say about Rondé? I remember the scouting report was, you got to watch out for Rondé Barber. I know he's your twin, Teak, but this guy does everything.
I ain't scared of you, big boy. I ain't gonna win that fight, though.
him. Get off him. Hey, watch that knee. It's unnecessary.
Get your butt back in the hole.
It's unnecessary.
Get your butt back in the hole.
Unnecessary.
They always put strengths and weaknesses of a guy, like on the little breakdown. I was like, I wonder which one of these guys is going to tell me a Tiki Barber weakness.
Don't fight that dude. He'll come back at you. I said, don't fight him. He'll just come back at you. He's crazy.
The reality was it was a unique thing, a situation. Like the successes that we've had, it doesn't happen for siblings, and most certainly doesn't happen a lot for twins.
He beats his brother around the corner, and there'll be some talk about that at the dinner table tonight.
Or maybe he was just really freaking good, which, you know, Giants all-time leading rusher. He's probably pretty freaking good.
Whenever I'd get the ball and run to the sideline, there was one time he hit me as I was going. I mean, I was out of bounds. I was down. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I'm making it look good, right? He was playing up to the nonsense hype of twins playing against each other.
I gotta get a hold of my damn emotions. I'm all hyped up right now for no damn reason. What the hell?
It's this kind of stuff that puts me a little on edge. But for the two of them, this is another day at the office. This is business.
Congrats, man. Yep. Y'all did what many people can't. What's that? Stop me.
I found out probably in their second or third year that after every game, they would call each other, saying those things that only a brother can say to you after a game. And so that made me relax a lot more because I honestly didn't know how they would see each other as competitors.
It is an honor to be amongst 371 of the greatest NFL players ever. I congratulate you, I salute you, and I give you the age-old toast. Here's to you, here's to me. Best of friends and brothers will always be. But if we should ever disagree, even though you're a Hall of Famer, you. Here's to me.
Since you're in a Hall of Fame too now.
Through the years, this is Tiki and Rondé through the years. These are the children's books that they wrote. I have 2 copies of each one of them. Pro Bowl footballs, Super Bowl football. This is Rondé after the Super Bowl. I believe that was following a celebration that they had in Tampa when it was done. That's one of the times that I had the pleasure, quote unquote, of watching my sons play against each other. That's how they met each other on the field. That's our friend Bill. No, Rondé, actually, that was in Tampa. I think President Clinton at that time visited Tampa, and Rondé had the pleasure of meeting him. This is very, very special to me. My husband had that done for me. He took pictures of Rondé and Tiki and pictures of my dad and took it to an artist in D.C., and the gentleman painted that for me. Major Willie T. Brickhouse Jr., Army Intelligence, died in Vietnam, December 26, 1967. This is Rondé. This is the family at Rondé's wedding. That's Rondé, my mom, and me and Tiki.
So prior to anything very, very good happening to me on the football field, I got married.
One of the other young men who grew up calling me his second mom visited Rondé in Tampa, and he says, there was this young lady that Rondé was spending a lot of time with, and I think she's the one. Don't tell him I told you, because I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Let's go back 2 years from that. We were living together, decide that it's time to make her an honest woman.
He smiled a lot. He was just a good talker. I think he got me pretty quickly, because I don't think I'm a very good talker, but he made it seem very easy to talk.
At the very end of football season 1999, at that point I was like, all right, I'm either gonna make it or I'm not. So we got engaged.
When I met Rondé, I didn't know much about the NFL and how it worked. We moved to the States when I was almost 9 from Guam. And so when we moved to the United States, our parents, or my parents, brought us to America's pastime, which was baseball.
She handles my life, and that's pretty awesome. What she's really good at is maintaining relationships, how she keeps everybody that we love and appreciate being around us around us.
I always understood that football was his life, and this is what he's always wanted to do. So I was going to be his biggest supporter, and I was going to do anything I could to help him achieve his goals. I watched so much film with Rondé when he was home that it was kind of really cool when I'd watch a game and kind of see something that I saw on film happening during the game.
The story's almost unbelievable. I think the unbelievable part of it is that I got to go through all of it with the woman I'm still married and in love with.
He never can be wrong. And I'm just like, can we just agree to disagree?
Because she also can never be wrong. Let's note this. They can both be wrong, but they refuse to be the one who's actually wrong.
Yamil is my first. Yamil is very close to Jamel. And then our second daughter is Justice, which was our boy's name.
We gave her name Justice with a Y, and then her middle name is Rosina, which means Little Rose.
We both try to state we're like the favorite child.
Yeah.
And I honestly of course I am. But
we don't know that.
We don't know.
As a grandmom, you can see your grandchildren picking up traits of their parents.
In terms of interests, I share a lot more with my dad. He has a giant Star Wars and Marvel collection in his office, and some of that has been contributed to by me.
His demeanor and his attitude. I think we have a very similar mindset for athletics.
I'm obviously proud of my kids. They've kind of taken on a life of their own already. It's amazing that they can be so different, but still very much alike and representatives of Claudia and I.
Rondé and I really, really are so grateful that Yamil and Justice came around for us. So, because we really didn't think, we'd get to have a family like this. So, before Yamil, I don't think anyone really knew this. Rondé and I, we had also lost 2 pregnancies before we got to Yamil. And then we found out we were pregnant with Yamil in September after training camp. She was almost like she saved us. Then when we found out we were pregnant with Justice after, oh my gosh, we'll take whatever God will give us.
He was around basically for everything. That was just so entertaining and nice to have him around and wanting to constantly be involved, although he had a whole another layer of his life that was also very intensive.
He would do their hair and I would get their breakfast ready.
He was also your stereotypical sideline coach when we played soccer together.
He gets invested.
Except that parent actually plays a professional sport, and when he's yelling at you corrections, he knows what he's yelling at you.
He let them make choices. My grandmother used to tell me, be careful of the mother you become because you're creating someone else's parent. Be sure that they carry on what needs to be carried on.
I think we did our job well enough. They found their way. Their journey is their own, obviously.
That's the biggest gift anyone can give anyone is their time. And he always gave us his time.
Can't live vicariously through your kids, but you can be part of it. And it's been really cool to be part of their journey so far. 2002, interesting year, man. 99 NFC Championship game. 2000, go to the playoffs, lose at Philly. 2001, my best year, obviously professionally, go to Philly, lose playoffs. Our inability to get past that hurdle is what got Tony Dungy fired. And I don't think anybody expected that because we were such a successful team, but we couldn't get over that last hurdle, which was the Eagles.
They owned us pretty good, and I laugh. It wasn't really fun. It wasn't funny.
It was absolute torture because we knew we could play good enough defense to get the win, but we couldn't play dominant defense to shut it down all the way because Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb and the weapons they had, they were going to devise a way to chip and bang at us in certain ways.
One of the greatest head coaches in the history of our league lost his job because we couldn't beat Philly. I take that personally. We took that personally.
And we want to introduce John Gruden, our new head coach. So I can say thank you very much. I woke up this morning, I had no idea how I got here, but I would like to thank Mr. Glazier and obviously Brian and Joel Glazier.
So we bring in John Gruden, and the dynamic changed. Very first team meeting, first words out of his mouth were, "We are winning a Super Bowl this year." There was no other option. We're too good of a football team not to.
The Buccaneers rush out of the gate, really good start to the season. Then they have to go to Philadelphia again, and they lose that game 20-10. And that's one of only 4 games the Buccaneers lost that entire season.
We played Philly at Philly, and we lost. And I remember Derek Brooks right off the field. I think y'all have video of it, and him yelling,
"We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. And we'll see you soon.
We'll be back." You know, he's just, you know, being prophetic. You know, who knows if he was just making it up, if he was just, you know, finding a way to deal with the loss.
It was fitting, the way that their season was going, our season was going, that we was going to meet them on the road in that stadium, and couldn't ask for a better strip.
It's here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, 26 degrees.
It was a house of horrors for us, but it wasn't one that we didn't feel that we can overcome.
I did not like them a lot then, and it was because they had our number.
We got to go back to Philly, man, and look at all those fans who, I don't want to say hate life, they love life, but they make you feel like they hate it, and they definitely hate you.
I was back home because Rondé said the crowd at Veterans Stadium would be so crazy that he's like, absolutely not, you can't come to the NFC Championship game. I was also pregnant with Justice at the time.
Well, there was a lot of negative comments about Philly fans, and Rondé had asked me not to come to that game. Actually, he told me, "I don't want you at that game. I don't want you at the game. Stay in Roanoke."
I remember diving in. Study was hyper-focused. Preparation was hyper-focused. Physically, I was f***ed up.
He tore his PCL in the back of his right knee. He had a plate and 9 screws in his thumb. Just the will. He was gonna will himself to not let any of those injuries slow him down.
There's just something about these old joints that it's hard to duplicate, and these fans are packed in here, ready to say goodbye to Veterans Stadium, where they've been playing football since 1971.
I think it's all the cats and rats.
It couldn't be more perfect that we had to face the team that we couldn't beat to get to the Super Bowl.
Mitchell. Down to the 25.
Well, I remember they came out and we had to fight against, oh, here we go again, because they took the opening kickoff back about 80 yards and scored a touchdown before we knew it. It was a little bit of that. I think they felt like, okay, we got these guys' numbers.
And I think maybe John had that in his mind the night before the game when he gave a speech to the team. There's a good chance that something's going to go wrong early in this game. In fact, it probably will. And when that happens, you have to understand that it's not over.
Deuce Staley. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
I'm like, we just got to get some points. If we get points, there's no way they can score with us because they're not built that way. We were giving them the ball, short fields and, you know, fruit plays and silly shit, you know, broken assignments and different things like that. But it wasn't one that we felt like they were just this badass team that we couldn't beat. That nobody was like that to us. Nobody.
Physically, I was bad. I was not good. But mentally, I was as sharp as I've ever been.
Tell you what, this is exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't want to have happen. That monkey on their back just gained about 100 pounds.
I could sense just the way he was moving that McNabb was going to test him.
Man, defensive back the year before. Led the league in interceptions. I didn't know this till after I watched the broadcast.
Well, and one of the matchups that the Eagles were hoping to get was Rondé Barber in a one-on-one situation, knowing that they don't get that very often.
And apparently the Philly coaches said Rondé Barber is their weakness on defense. I did not know that. Didn't know it was a weakness on defense.
They think their wide receivers against man coverage down the field can beat these Tampa corners.
Yeah, they're just not very good when they're in one-on-one coverage, as you see right there.
The whole game, Troy is expounding on how the Eagles are going to take advantage of me. All game.
Because these corners, both Rondé Barber and Brian Kelly, are not accustomed to having to cover receivers, first of all, one-on-one that often, and then more importantly, further down the field. You saw once they got...
So Brian Kelly led the league in interceptions, didn't go to the Pro Bowl, but 3 defensive backs for the Eagles did. Brian Dawkins, Hall of Famer, to both corners, Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent going to Pro Bowl. So I'm pissed. Brian Kelly's pissed. We're all pissed.
McNabb dumps it, looking for Westbrook, and that was Rondé Barber.
Early in the game, I have a pass breakup. Seamless.
Dumped off to Westbrook. Brought down shy of a first down.
There's a screen. It should be on a teaching tape for every player on how to beat that screen.
Blitz coming off the corner, and it was Barber who got there, gunned over the middle and knocked down by Barber.
Rondé stood up and answered every question to the test.
Rondé Barber has just been all over the middle of the field.
There wasn't a play that I didn't make. I think I recorded a stat in every single defensive category.
Final game at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Buccaneers hold a 7-point lead. That's Tiki Barber, had a tremendous year this year with the Giants. Was unsure as to whether he was going to come down here because he's not too well liked in these parts by the Eagle fans. Watching his twin brother Rondé work off the corner for Tampa Bay.
When I get interactions with Philly fans, they always start to say, "Oh man, I hated you." And I always say, you didn't really hate me, you respected me. But you know who you hate? Rondé Barber.
And the fact that Philadelphia's offense is struggling against Tampa's defense, well, maybe that's not shocking because this is the best defense in football. But the fact that Tampa's offense has been running up and down the field against a tremendous Philadelphia defense, that is startling.
Offense played well that game. Joe Jervis just had a great game. Mike Allstott had a really good game. Michael Pittman ran the ball well that game. But yet, you're not quite comfortably beating a team.
Watching Rondé, watching my son, he was in Donovan's head. You know, it's like he's mind reading. You know, there's something clicking there.
They were a really good football team because of Donovan McNabb. And we all know Donovan, man. We played against him so many times, man. We knew he finds ways.
Well, I knew all game that Rondé was going to get him. And I kept telling him that at some point you're going to get him.
Brooks was calling, Rondé, I know you got 16. I mean, he was telling us the whole second half. I said, man, can you please stop with that? Because he's going to jump a route, and then I'm going to have to be responsible for the pump. Don't worry about it, Dad. We'll be all right. I said, okay, here we go.
You could just see the plays that Rondé was making. It was going to happen. We just didn't know when, where, and how. He seemed to be on it in the right place at the right time, and he was making plays.
Fourth quarter and a trip to the Super Bowl at stake.
Donovan and then we're getting hot, and Philly was coming storming back. They were moving the football. You felt momentum, you felt their crowd, and we needed to make a play.
McNabb sets up and fires. Hickston dragged down from behind as he crossed the 40. On second down, he finds Lewis, who has a first down.
That's a great job by Donovan McNabb. Just slide to his left, just enough to give him some room.
We talk about it so much, though, those big guys at the end of a football game, they're just tired, and then you put them in a no-huddle.
I think what you're seeing is a team in Philadelphia that realizes the urgency.
Second down and 7. McNabb somehow gets out of the grasp of Sapp, gets rid of it and finds his man. Antonio Freeman with a first down.
He's just finding ways to make plays, and this just drive what's going to bring them within one score.
I remember looking over there. I said, man, you want to get us out of this? And he looks at me with that look on his face like, oh, now I can jump a route. Yeah, you can jump a route now. Please get us out of this.
I just remember that play like it was yesterday. You know, Rondé faking the blitz.
Hurry up defense means one thing to Monty Kiffin. You're gonna play cover 2, so you don't give up the big play and make it easy on them, or you're gonna blitz. Because that's, when Monty gets pissed, he blitz.
The thing that set it up was he faked the blitz, because we blitzed him a lot. And he faked the blitz and came out of the blitz, so he comes out.
First down, goal from the 10. Come on, Bucs. 3:27 to go.
Should have known it wasn't a blitz, because when we blitzed, I always traveled with John Lynch.
All of a sudden, I'm on the side I thought I was supposed to be on, and Rondé lines up on the other side. He's bluffing a blitz, but it didn't make sense. I mean, he was right behind a D lineman, and I think Donovan was probably moving fast.
And hurry up. Sometimes miss the details, and Donovan missed the detail on that play.
And I saw him. He glanced to the backfield, and then he glanced to his left and right, and then it's like he was looking eye to eye to Donovan. It was like he zoned in on him, and I said, he's going to pick it.
First down, goal from the 10. Come on, Bucs. 3:27 to go. McNabb dropping. It's intercepted at the 10, to the 20.
He's gone.
Going coast to coast. Rondé Barber to the 50, to the 40. Barber to the 30. Nobody's going to touch him. Rondé Barber, 10-5. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
He said he looked at every player and every coach's faces on the sideline of the Philly side. It was like dead silence in the stadium.
Right, there's no such thing as making a play. It's preparation meeting opportunity. That's when plays happen. That's what makes it special to me, is that it was just a moment, and I captured that moment.
Every time I watch it, it makes me cry. I just know like how big of a moment it was for him.
Rondé's play, the pick 6 at Philly, favorite play of mine as a teammate, as a fan.
Easily. Never get tired of watching that thing. Never get tired of watching him point to his name.
And then to end it like that, the game over. It's the biggest play in Tampa Bay history.
I've seen some great defensive efforts in championship-type football games before, but I haven't seen anybody play better than Rondé Barber has today.
Maybe I was just giving a big f*** you to Philly and Troy Aikman for thinking that I was going to be the weak link in that game. Maybe I heard it through the field or something.
And he has been a nightmare all day long for Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles.
That doubt that showed up in the broadcast was definitely vindicated by me when I scored.
That's my son. He worked hard, he worked doubly hard to do what he felt that he could do and to prove the doubters wrong. So he earned it.
The twins, Tiki and Rondé Barber, celebrating on the sideline, and Rondé is such a big part of this win in Philadelphia.
The last game ever to be played in the vet, and the last touchdown scored was by Barber, and he made sure you knew. It was awesome. I mean, hell, it's my favorite moment of both of our careers.
A 95-yard interception return. Bucs lead 26-10. Rondé Barber, you need to go to the Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl my ass, baby. I'm going to San Diego, man. Come on, I'm going to San Diego.
That's what he said. The Pro Bowl. We going to San Diego for the World Championship. So.
That's right. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are headed to San Diego for Super Bowl 37.
Did I think that would last the test of time? I have no idea. I sometimes think back, how did that even happen? what made me decide to fake that blitz? So he thought it was a pressure. He was gonna throw a hot route that would hit me right in the hands. I have no idea. After shutting down the vet, opening the link with another victory in Philly, literally feeling like we're the best team in football. We have a Super Bowl. Nobody's going to beat us. And, you know, we faltered.
Yeah, I mean, they broke up the band. They did. And I think we probably all have some regrets about what transpired, how it went down.
I left. Me and Lynch went to the AFC West. He's in Denver, I'm in Oakland. And it's just not the same when you ask people who were passengers in a great ride to now drive the car.
That's what made our defense such a great defense, because we had so many different personalities meshed together. And fitting that puzzle, every one of those personalities was needed to make us great.
But after we all left, Rondé kind of became that guy. And he was the only one left, really, that had been with us, had been so impactful.
You know, I'm 8, 9 years in the league, 10 years in the league almost, probably by then. New, younger guys coming in, and they're now looking at me. They're staring at me.
Let's go, boys. You can't lead from the back, but Rondé tried. Rondé did a wonderful job, but you can't, because, like I've always said, the front and the back end work hand in hand. If you don't have pressure on the quarterback, your DBs are in trouble. If you got great coverage in the back end and you can't rush, they're in trouble.
The rookies and the second and third year guys that were coming in were closer to age to our own daughters than they were to him at 37 years old. And he thought that was kind of weird.
He became that guy who could absolutely, you can go to just about anything. And all the players, all walks of life, all went to him. I should have probably made him my assistant head coach those years, because it's absolutely how he acted and absolutely how he moved.
We're rolling, D. Come on, huddle up, huddle up.
At the time, you know, our team was in turmoil. He knew there's a certain level that you can get to, but he knew that took time.
Stand up now.
Just the way he handled, you know, certain guys, pulling guys to the side, talking, you know, not really getting in guys' faces or whatever. I mean, a certain time and place for that, but he was a guy who kind of just led by example and led the right way.
The coaches had their coaches' offices upstairs, and then we had meeting rooms, and then Rondé had his office. And I was like, dang, like it really is levels to this in the NFL.
This is your anniversary. I need something from you. This is your anniversary.
Whether it was Gerald McCoy as a young defensive player, all of these guys really mimicked in how he moved about his day, how he went about his process.
They would ask if they could sit by him during team meetings. They'd ask if they could watch film with him.
The thing that really surprised me most is how much he trash talked on the field.
He had the heart of a lion, and he was the size of a cornerback.
You're having one of those days! Hey, baby, you're having one of those days!
I got the first C on my chest. I love being leader of this team. Even though we weren't a great football team, we were a good team. We had some good teams. We played some great games and won some great games. But it was dealing with adversity, and adversity is what really defined my career, my football career. So I think I was the perfect person to be in that leadership role at that time.
Hey, man, what a great day, man. Great day. You got a chance today, right? Excellence is the standard, isn't it? Let's be elite today, though. Go out and dominate this damn game. Walk out of here with the W, baby. Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bucs.
It's Super Bowl reunion weekend. 2002 championship team in attendance today, and our honorary captains will be a part of that group.
Oh, still playing, boy. When you gonna retire, man?
Not no time soon, man.
Rondé Barber, by the way, the only Buccaneer still active to have played in Super Bowl 37, and he's out there as a captain for today's game.
I dealt with a lot of adversity in my life, but not really in a long time to this point. this is year 12 for me. We drafted Aqib Talib, and the position that everybody now says that I'm in, that define that nickel cornerback slot, I was the CEO of that role across the NFL, right? But that year I started a year unproductive. That was the first year that Raheem had come back, and I remember the day he called me. It was Monday, and he said, "Hey, you're not starting this week."
This is a guy who had been starting every single game since midway through 1999 and was still making big plays. And Rondé's a proud player. And he would go on to play, 5 more seasons? So he obviously still had a lot left in his tank.
And I remember going into work, and I was like, Monty didn't call me and tell me this. John didn't call and tell me this. They made Raheem call and tell me this. And I know for a fact, there's no way Raheem would make a suggestion that I not start.
Well, I certainly can't see Rondé taking that lying down. I wouldn't put it past him to say something.
I played the dutiful third corner. That whole week, just did my job. Went on our sub package of practices. Didn't say a word to Monty. Not one single word all week.
Oh, I don't know that I just do not get into that. I love this kid now.
Friday comes that week, and Monty comes in and shuts the door. I don't even know if he asked me if I'm all right, but it probably took 2 seconds for me to start motherfucking him. I don't know where I left it. I don't know what I said. I cannot regurgitate a word of that meeting, but I was at least content in my mind that I had noted my objection.
Would the relationship with the organization remain the same? Would he have still remained a Buccaneer?
And then the next morning, go into our team meeting. I don't know when he decided to do it. He said, "I can't do it. Rondé, you're starting." And that game, after not having made a big play all year, I had 2 interceptions and 1 return for a touchdown.
That one intercepted. Rondé Barber got one man to beat, and he just beat him. Touchdown, Bucs.
Trust me, Rondé Barber is not afraid of Sean McDonald's speed. He just sat on the route, and the rest is history.
4-time Pro Bowler makes him pay.
As it worked out, that was a seminal moment in the latter part of my career.
Rondé Barber, he might be getting up there in age, but he has a nose for the ball.
After 2011 season, Mark Dominic called me, left me a message, basically asked if I still wanted to play. He told me what he was going to offer me, what Coach Schiano had in store.
How we feeling there, 11? Yeah? You store all the oxygen up there in your hair. That's what people don't know. That's why Rondé's sucking wind. He got no storage.
We talked. Told me he was going to move me to safety, and I said, okay. I remember the very first meeting with Schiano, and this has nothing to do with him. This is all about me. I think I probably had buyer's remorse.
He had 16 years of going to work and loving it and having fun. And then when it was coming up, when he had days that he's like, I just, he had the thought in his mind that like, this isn't that fun anymore.
It was pretty easy for me to be done. We made some moves in free agency. We signed Darrelle Revis to a big contract, and I didn't see myself fitting in.
Honestly, didn't believe he was going to do it, for real. He'd been in there for so long. It's like, you? But he knew it was time.
I think his mind was also trying to tell him that, it's time to start a new chapter.
He also realized we're getting older, he wants to be around for every single moment. We went skiing for the first time after he retired.
It was really funny.
He looked like the most unathletic person
I believe it was described as Bambi on ice.
Yeah.
We'll make it. There you are. Look at you all good stuff, man.
Everyone here that has been such a great supporter, I just want to thank you all for taking care of my, I guess I can say big brother. Raise a glass, and Claudia's going to give a toast.
Well, RB, they're never going to be able to replace you, and they still haven't. You will always be the Buccaneers' all-time Buck, and to your teammates, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Cheers.
That to me is the best thing about sport. We're entertainers. Nothing more than great entertainers. But my initial reaction every time I see a big play is to look in the stands, see how they're reacting, see the excitement that you're bringing them. I had a whole lot of fun entertaining you. My path was so much more enjoyable. The journey was so much greater because I had all of you with me. So as much as this night is about me, for me, it's also about you. And I am impossibly appreciative. So thank you guys.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kenny Albert, along with a couple of Hall of Fame nominees, Rondé Barber and his younger brother by 7 minutes, Tiki. Rondé, the big story in New York.
Tiki had retired 6 years before me. He went into TV. I'd spent many conversations with John Lynch, and he was working for Fox, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
I just went to the people at Fox and said, you'd be a fool not to hire this guy. He's as smart a football player as I've ever been around. He's got tremendous personality. He's a barber. There's cachet in that.
With Rondé Barber, I'm Chris Myers. Glad you're with us for another season of the NFL on Fox.
I think what made Rondé a natural was that he was comfortable talking to people. So he wasn't talking down to anybody, wasn't teaching, wasn't like instructing. He wasn't a know-it-all, but he was a guy who played the game. So you respected that, and it was in a friendly delivery.
They haven't blown anybody out of the water all year, but they have been sound. They've been smart with the football. They've just stayed close. The defense refuses to give.
The one thing that was really neat was Rondé would put together scouting reports and send them to all of us, myself, our sideline reporter, the producer, the director. And these reports were as comprehensive as anything I've ever seen.
Keep an eye on Shaq Barrett. He is heating up right now. Number 58 for the Bucs, 3rd down and 15. Jones again under pressure. You called it, Rondé.
Watching film, studying players, I didn't know what else to do. That was the only way I knew how to get myself ready to talk about a football game, just like I was playing in it.
Here's Richard Sherman, here's Chris Godwin. Richard Sherman's gonna end up on him, but this is an opportunity ball. When quarterbacks see a defender's head, the back of their head, they are trained, just throw it. Your receiver's looking at you. Defender can't possibly make a play on it. I pride myself on preparation, but I used to joke with Rondé that I could do no work during the week, just read his scouting report, and I would be ready to go on Sunday.
Pairing sheets.
Thank you. You've been a terrific representation of this organization. Just what it's meant to you to have to be part of this community.
Yeah, it's a question that matters because when I retired from football and was doing broadcasting, I wasn't expecting to do this. Feeling what it takes to put on a professional golf event really excited me, and it made me want to be part of it.
Rondé, how are you?
Good. Hey, what's up, Scott?
Doing good?
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
My love of golf, just being around it, led me to Valspar Championship. I get to run an event and most importantly raise a bunch of money for local charities. That's the big thing.
Thank you.
Tournament week for me is probably the most hectic 7-8 days of my year, every single year.
What does Rondé Barber Appreciation Day mean to you?
It means I get a chance for the first time to interact and see all the fans that rooted for me during my career. Obviously, this is a golf event, right? There's just actual players making a living out here.
All right.
Good start.
Thanks. Appreciate it. You out here every day?
I'm out here every day.
Good.
My job.
Love it.
Right now, we bring to you NFL Hall of Fame finalists. It's Rondé Barber. Good morning, sir.
What's up, gents?
Now, I don't want to ruin the surprise, so you don't have to tell us the specifics, but I gotta know, do you already know about the Hall of Fame?
I can neither deny nor confirm
back.
Okay, that helps us. That helps. Is it difficult almost having to root against other people?
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't know if you would characterize it just like that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that you're rooting against other people. It's just that you're so much rooting for yourself, because there's been years in past when I didn't get in, and I was like, I can't believe I got in. What am I, chopped liver?
Let's do this.
Right in there. Yeah, we got enough. Back. Coming right now.
Oh, Brooksy. Oh my God. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. I know. Oh.
You wear that jacket around everywhere?
Yes. you will too, Will.
Oh my God.
Derek, give me a line. Get those back out.
Well, Rondé Barber, my good friend, welcome to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Oh my God, Derek.
We teammates forever.
I can't get rid of me.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Congrats.
God, I don't know what to say. I want to use my adult words right now. And I can't.
There's nothing to say, man. This is, we're not even worried about how long it took. You are here, you deserve it, and man, I'm just so blessed to bring you the great news, man.
Well, it's I get to try to beat you at one more thing. See if I can get a better speech than you.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to show teeth.
If you're saying kind of a smile,
It's kind of that one. I think Claudia has a picture. Claudia.
That one?
No. There's another one. No. No.
Oh. Did you see who that was, Mike T?
No fainting. Yes. Or hidden through the door. Oh, yeah. Looks like a regular black guy. I thought I had a career that would have Canton calling at some point. When I took an inventory on the things that I had done and the way that I had done it, it was so unique that it should be Canton worthy.
To me, he checks every box. He had the longevity. He had signature plays. He had the signature play in franchise history. He won a championship. And if you just want to talk about numbers, those numbers on that page are probably convincing enough without all that other stuff for him to be in the Hall of Fame.
You look at the position that he played. He changed the position of cornerback, nickelback.
Rondé Barber changed the look of that with his run fits. He changed the look of that with his ability to blitz. He changed the look of that with his ability to play inside linebacker.
We're talking about a guy who was willing to do more than most, who had a skill set that was different than most, a guy that had an agenda that was different than most.
And I think he was born to be a nickel. He could play outside too, but he's one of the greatest nickels in the history of football. And it's not my first rodeo.
He'd reached the pinnacle. It's what you play the sport for. And he was a big part of it. And I felt like I shared in that.
He can look back on his playing career and be very satisfied. But he's also doing things to help make Tampa a better community.
Rondé Barber is Tampa. He is Mr. Buccaneer. I'm not afraid to say so. And I'll back him against Brooks.
I think that's why there's such a love affair with Rondé Barber, because he kind of never went away. A lot of us did, whether by our choosing or not, but Rondé never did. And I think people, they like and respect and appreciate that that he always stayed there.
I have so many friends and family that have wanted this for me for so long. Not only was my career not just about me, it was about them. I mean, they spent those 16 years rooting for me.
Being in the Hall of Fame, I think, for Rondé and I know for our family, it's like being in heaven or winning the lottery because you can't ever take it away. He gets to have his dream forever, and we can go visit it anytime we want in Canton, Ohio.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey. I'm not going to stand up here today and give you ordinary because I was not an ordinary cornerback. I stand here amongst these legends of the game, remembering a time when I was never imagined to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was too small, too slow, just a system cornerback.
Tell me I ain't the best.
It's easy to be marginalized when you're surrounded by Hall of Fame defenders. Sapp, Brooks, Lynch. I was simply overlooked. It was the doubt that most bothered me, and it sent me to work angry.
Put your big boy pads on. Let's fight to the finish, man.
So I set out to become uncommon.
Rondé Barber.
To all my teammates, there's a lot of you here, and I appreciate you being here. I want to thank the fans, yes, Philly fans, even you I appreciate. To my wife, Claudia, I love you most. You are the foundation for which I stand. Yamil and Justice, my two daughters, you came into our world at our peak, and I'll always love you as you chase your journey. The single biggest reason I'm standing here right now is that little 5'0" lady sitting in the front row. Geraldine Brickhouse Barber Hale. And if you don't remember anything else I say today, remember this. I am here because of my brother. You simply cannot tell my story without telling our story. After today, there'll be 23 corners in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I'm not like any one of them because I couldn't be. This league will reward you if you dare to be uncommon and choose to be a little bit extraordinary.
Kind of looks like me, but not really.
I like the shit-eating grin expression. Are you recording this? No. Okay.
This is Rondé and Tiki when they were very young, before they were walking. I would frequently put them in the clothes basket when I was doing laundry to stop them from running around the laundry room in the basement of the apartment where we were living.
You guys are
Wait, why?
you're with the Eagles.
Weak link. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, you tell Troy Aikman something that's stupid, and he's dumb enough to repeat it right before he pick it off and go.
But I spilled water on Sapp. It was in training camp, and he threatens me the whole time. He's like tormenting me that he's gonna come into my room and on my bed.
Whatever stories they tell, I just accept them.
You can ask Lynch and Sapp and all those guys, hey, man, who is this dude? Who is this dude you drafted, Coach Herm? I said, man, he's going to be a good player.
I'm just coming in the locker room, I just hearing people, some of the guys already calling him Day-Day, so he's like, hey, what's up, Day-Day? So I guess that kind of stuck. I wasn't going to say Mr. Barber.
I hear this voice come out of nowhere and say something that not suited for children. And I look, it is Rondé. And then you look and see who he's talking to. He's talking to an offensive lineman.
I actually think that he thinks he can still play. If the league would let someone play at his position at 48 years old, I'm sure he would take them up on it.
And I remember John Lynch telling me, dude, when your wife's pregnant and you're just getting married, you usually have the worst year of your career. And I had the best year of my career.
And I might get in trouble if my wife hears that I told them that.
All right, we're moving right along swiftly.
I think, though, I mean, what I will say on that is that's how much I love that guy.
Mike T texted me, told me to sop up the moment, and he actually said, "Don't try to act cool." I don't even know what that means.
And Rondé talks too damn much. Nah,
An intrepid Rondé Barber aficionado will notice the scar above the right eye. Earned in battle at a bowling rink when I was 12.
Smile. You two are the only thing that almost made me cry.
Grandma was bawling, crying. I was like, you could see the tears rolling down my face.
I honestly wonder like what we thought at a young age, like where he was going every Thursday, Friday to Sunday.
Probably just like
we just said, oh, he's working.
Like, oh, he's working. What's he working on? I don't know, work.
We both, I think, have like major eye rolls for him. That
you have more than I do.
Yeah, probably well-deserved, but also a little exaggerated.
Justice is always like, you really think you're a big deal, don't you? Like, she's such a smart ass. Like, I don't know where she gets that from. That's not me. I don't know, maybe that is me.
So when you're looking off to the right, you're usually lying.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, when you look to the left, you're searching for you're searching. Yes, when you look to the left, you're searching for.
I guess I lie a lot.